Hello, welcome to part 3 of what a harmonic chart is and how to interpret it. This is obviously part 3. It's the third part of a sequence of videos on what a harmonic chart is and how to interpret it. If you haven't watched part 1 of this series or part 2 and you want to start and with the earlier ones and work your way up, you can go to those. What I'm going to do in this section, in this part 3, two things. One is I'm going to show you how the harmonic chart is calculated. I did not show you that in the first two parts because I think the technical details of how things are calculated is not the most important thing, but it is nice to know. And now that we've gotten this far along, let's learn how the harmonic chart is calculated. Some of you have watched the first two sections and have asked me, well, how did you calculate that? So let's cover that. And I also want to do something else in this video, which is some interesting facts about the zodiac signs and harmonic charts. Very curious things about it. Okay, but first, let's learn how a harmonic chart is calculated. I'm in the Series 2.0 software. Here it is, and I have two charts that I've selected. I've selected Buddy Holly, the same person we analyzed in the first two parts of this series, but now I'm looking at his ninth harmonic chart. On the left is his natal chart. If I scroll down, it tells me here that on the left is the natal chart, on the right is the ninth harmonic chart. So same person, but we'll look at his ninth harmonic chart instead of his fifth harmonic chart. So what I want to show you is how this chart is calculated. How did the software, I'm in the Series 2.0 software, how did it calculate the position? It's incredibly simple. All you do is multiply the positions by 9, since I'm in the ninth harmonic chart. If I was in the fifth harmonic chart, multiply by 5. You just multiply by the harmonic you want. It's that simple. So I'll give you an example, so you've got the procedure down clearly. Let's just do Venus. Doesn't matter. Let's do Venus, which is 4 Libra 17, and let's find out how the software got a position of 8 Scorpio 35. Okay. You ready to find out how this happens? Let's do it. We're going to go into a calculator. There happens to be a calculator in the Sirius software. I'll click on this calculator feature. It has all kinds of calculation features, but here's a little calculator on the left side. And I want to multiply 4 Libra 17 by 9. How do I do that? Well, the zodiac signs are nothing but names for groups of 30 degrees, and Libra starts at 180. If you count, starting with Aries, Aries is 30 degrees, Taurus is 30 degrees, Gemini is 30 degrees, Libra starts at 180. So this is 184, and let's convert the 17 minutes to a decimal. I can do that by do 17 divided by 60 equals 0.2833. So I just entered that into the calculator. Now I'll add 184. Why 184? Because we're at the Venus is at the 4th degree of Libra, and Libra starts at 180. This is the position of Libra. Let's just multiply by 9. So I do times 9 equals. There's our answer. Well, it's a really big number. So what you do is you subtract out multiples of 360. So I'm going to type in here minus 360, minus 360, minus 360. My number's still larger than 360. I keep doing that until I get this number 218.54997. So I convert 218 back to zodiac position. I happen to know that 210 is the beginning of Scorpio. If you just calculate that out, you'll see, well, Libra starts at 180, 30 more would be 210. So this is saying it's 8 Scorpio 0.55 approximately. Let's subtract 218. We get the decimal. If I multiply that by 60, I'll get the minutes, and rounds off to 33 minutes. So we're getting 8 Scorpio 33. I'll close this window. And there is Venus at 8 Scorpio 35, not 33. Why is it different by 2 minutes? That's a rounding problem. We are using a position of 4 Libra 17. The software is using the actual position of Venus more precisely. If I go back to Buddy Holly's natal chart, I have two entries here in the Series 2.0 software. And I go to something like listing planet list, it will tell me that Venus is actually 4 Libra 1712. It's actually slightly larger than 4 Libra 17. So rounded off, it's 4 Libra 17, but it's slightly larger. When you multiply that by 9, we got 8 Scorpio 33. It actually comes out to 8 Scorpio 35. So if you do this by hand, you'll get the same results, but if you're using rounded positions rounded off to the minute, your result may be off a few minutes. That's how it's done. All you do is multiply the planet positions by the number of the harmonic. It's that simple. Okay, so we did this. I'm looking over my notes. This is the point I want to make. Bottom paragraph here, very important. By multiplying the positions by 9, we achieve our goal of stretching all the angles between the planets by 9. So it's an amazingly simple thing, like magic. Multiplying the planets by 9 will stretch all of the angular distances between the planets. So the distance between, well, on the left is the natal chart, say Sun and Venus. It looks like it's about 19 degrees. Halfway through Virgo, it's a little more than 19 degrees. We multiply that by 9. Whatever that comes out to be, and the Sun-Venus angle here will be that amount. So it stretches all the angular distances by that number. And that's it. So now you know how it's calculated. Some of you are wondering how the sign was figured out. It's just where it ends up. You multiply by 9, and it ends up there. Well, in a minute, I'm going to show you another way to think about it. But for now, it's just where it happens to land. It happened to land there. Okay. So we now know how to calculate. Whoops, I didn't mean to click on that. We now know how to calculate the harmonic chart. Very simple. Very, very simple. Now, here's an issue. When we multiply the natal house cusps by 9, they're not going to come out in order. You're not going to end up with the second house cusp a little bit after the first house cusp. It's going to end up all over the place. So in a harmonic chart, typically we just use equal houses. So we've got 1 Aries 01 is the position of the ascendant. We multiply the ascendant, which is 10 Capricorn 07, by 9. Subtract out multiples of 360. You're going to end up with 1 Aries 01. And then we just go around. 1 Taurus 01, 1 Gemini 01. You're just not going to get house cusps in order. That's just what happens with harmonic charts. Okay, so I wanted to mention that point so you know about that. And by the way, I do not interpret planets and houses in a harmonic chart. Sometimes you look at this thing, it looks like a chart. You know, it's got an ascendant, it's got planets and signs and houses. It makes you almost feel like you know, Mars is in the 6th house, like you have to interpret that. Well, it looks like it's the 6th house, but that's only because we made equal houses from the ascendant, and maybe that's not so important. So I don't interpret it. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. As I mentioned here on this, in this last paragraph of this slide, in astrology there is more that we do not know than we do know. So the fact I don't use it doesn't mean I'm so sure that it doesn't work. It's just we only use a few things that we've worked with over and over again, and we feel confident using it. I think all astrologers are that way. Okay, so a little more detail about what's going on with harmonic charts. Okay, so you've got that idea that if you multiplied each one of these house cusps by the number, you would not get houses in order, so we just use equal houses. Okay. Now, zodiac signs. Last thing I want to talk about here in this tutorial video is the zodiac signs. And this brings up something very interesting. There's not completely, but a very different way of thinking about what a harmonic chart is. A different visualization of what it is, and you get the same result. So the one way I showed you about where a harmonic chart is you multiply all the planets by 9. That also spreads all the angular distances between all the planets by 9. There's a whole other way of thinking about it. Let me show you this. Best way to explain it is just for me to show you. Here's Buddy Holly's natal chart. I'm zoomed in a little bit so you can see the details. I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom of his chart. You've no doubt noticed this thing that looks like a circus of colors, all these colors around here. What is this? Let me explain what it is. With Aries, here's the beginning of the sign Aries. So here's the normal sign Aries, Taurus. What we're going to do is we're going to make little zodiac. A little zodiac that goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and another little zodiac. So each one of these red ones is a new zodiac. So I've got little zodiacs, and we're going to make 9 little zodiacs. If we count them all, we'll see that there are 9. Let's let me shrink this a little bit. Is that shrunken? Oh, let me shrink it a little bit more. Okay, that's good enough. And we'll count one more time. We'll count these zodiacs. Starting from here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're back to where we started with Aries. 9 zodiacs. So how big is each one of these zodiacs? If you divide 9 into 360, they're 40 degrees. So you make 9 zodiacs. Each one is 40 degrees in length. If you've never heard of this before, it may sound weird, but that's what you do. You make 9 little zodiacs, little baby zodiacs. Make little baby zodiacs around the circle. Start at the same point. Starts with the beginning of Aries. And you get these 9 little zodiacs, each with a length of 40 degrees. So 10 degrees Taurus is the 40th degree, and that begins Aries. And the next Aries would be 20 Gemini. If you calculate it out, you'll see that that's the case. And then 0 Leo would be 40 plus 40 plus 40 is 120, and Leo starts at 120, so Aries starts again at the beginning of Leo. So you have these 9 little zodiacs, and how big is each sign? Well, if you divide the 40 degrees of the zodiac by 12, because there are 12 signs, you're going to get 3 degrees 20 minutes. So each of these signs, 9th harmonic signs, is 3 degrees 20 minutes. Here's the amazing thing. You'll get the same exact result whether you multiply by 9 or whether you make 9 little zodiacs. For example, Venus. Let's scroll up here to look at this. And I'm going to zoom back in so that you can see this in a little more detail. Okay. Venus at 4 Libra 17, what's happening is that the Libra 9th harmonic sign, around the outside of the 9th harmonic signs, goes from the Libra 9th harmonic sign starts right at the beginning of Libra. That's how it works out. If we calculate this out, that's where it is. And I said that each one of these signs is 3 degrees 20 minutes. Because if you do 12 signs of 3 degrees 20 minutes, that'll be your 40 degrees of the sign. So that means from 0 degrees Libra to 3 degrees 20 minutes of Libra, of the normal Libra sign, is Libra navamsa, and 3 degrees 20 minutes to 6 degrees 40 minutes is Scorpio navamsa. And remember what we said? We said that Venus is in 8 degrees of Scorpio in the navamsa chart when we were looking at those 2 wheels. And there it is. It's in the Scorpio section. And how does it become 8 degrees? Because the proportion of 4 Libra 17, where Venus is, through this section from 3 Libra 20 to 6 Libra 40, from 3 degrees 20 minutes to 6 degrees 40 minutes, this section of Libra from 3 degrees 20 minutes to 6 degrees 40 minutes is Scorpio navamsa. So there are sub-signs. Each of these navamsa signs colors that part of the sign. So all of Libra is not the same. All of Virgo is not the same. The first 3 degrees 20 minutes of Libra has a Libra quality. The next 3 degrees 20 minutes of Libra has a Scorpio quality. So what this means is that if, well, say for Buddy Holly, his Venus is in Libra, but it's in a part of Libra that has a little Scorpio quality to it. So he may be very relationship-oriented, very romantic, because Libra likes to relate, and he likes to really relate and bond. He got married very young. He didn't live very long, but he did get married before he died. So that's what we would expect if you're in Libra with a Scorpio sub-quality to it. What if you're in Libra with an Aquarius navamsa sign, giving an Aquarian tone? That's going to be a lot more cooler, more emphasis on flight friendships, your buddies. So the navamsa sign is going to tone the quality of the sign. That's the theory. That's the theory. Now, let me go over a few things. So one thing I'm saying is that there are two different ways of thinking about what a harmonic chart is. We'll use the ninth harmonic as an example. Same concepts apply to any harmonic. One way is you multiply all the planets by 9. You stretch all the distances by 9. Another way, it's like a different way of thinking of it, but you get the same result, is that you made 9 little zodiacs. 9 little zodiacs of 40 degrees each. Each sign is 3 degrees 20 minutes in length, and the ninth harmonic sign is the sign you end up with. It's that sub-sign, that little section of that sign. So that's another way of thinking about it. Okay, let me go back to my PowerPoint, and that's what I explain here. So two different ways of thinking about it. A couple of things here. One is, let me see if this is my last slide. No, I've got one more slide. One point that's interesting here is that there's a pattern of how the harmonic signs are related to the natal chart. Okay, let me shrink this again so we can see the whole wheel. And let me show you what the pattern is. Aries, you know what, it's going to be a little hard for you to see. Sorry, I'm probably driving you dizzy by zooming in and zooming out. Let's use the zoomed in one, because I think you'll be able to see it later easier, and I'll scroll around. Aries begins with Aries, by definition. That's how we do it. Taurus is going to begin with the 10th sign. If you calculate all this out, Taurus will begin right at the beginning of the 10th, 9th harmonic sign, which is Capricorn. So Aries begins with Aries, Taurus begins with Capricorn. We go, actually, there'll be 9 signs in each one of these normal signs. And then Gemini starts with Libra, Cancer starts with Cancer, Leo starts with Aries. Do you see a pattern? Have you figured it out? Are you clever enough? Are you awake enough to figure that out? Virgo starts with 9th harmonic Capricorn. What's happening is that each sign begins with the cardinal sign of the same element. So Taurus is an earth sign, and it begins with Capricorn, which is the cardinal earth. Gemini is an air sign, so it starts with cardinal air. Cancer is a water sign, starts with cardinal water, which is a Cancer, same sign. Leo starts with cardinal fire, which is Aries. I'll do one more, you'll get the idea. Virgo is an earth, it starts with cardinal earth, which is Capricorn. So all the earth signs begin with Capricorn. Here's Capricorn, begins with its own sign, Capricorn. It's just a nice, beautiful little tapestry, little weaving there, where it's just the way it works out that you get that nice little pattern. It's very pretty. Other harmonics will also do this. In the 7th harmonic, you'll get 7 signs, and each, Taurus would start with Scorpio, and Gemini would start with Gemini. What happens is that the masculine signs, the odd-numbered signs, start with their own sign. That's the fire and air. And the feminine signs, which are the earth and water, begin with the opposite sign, which is really cool. So you get the odd numbers starting on their own sign, and the even-numbered signs, the water and earth, starting with the opposite of their sign. And anyway, there's beautiful patterns. So in other words, Aries starts with Aries, Taurus, in the 7th harmonic. Taurus starts with Scorpio, the opposite sign. Gemini starts with its own sign, Gemini. Cancer will start with the opposite sign, Capricorn. Leo will start with its own sign, Leo, and so on. If you figure that out, you'll get it. I don't want to spend a lot of time going through all this little number stuff, because you get lost in the trees and you lose sight of the forest. I want to keep the basic idea in mind. The basic idea, the most important thing, and not get lost in all those details, is that there's another way to think of harmonic charts rather than ninth harmonic being just multiplying the planets by 9, which is that there are 9 little zodiacs. And those little zodiacs will have little signs, and you can calculate the ninth harmonic chart by figuring out what navamsa sign it's in, and how far what the percent of that the planet is through that sign. Like if it's halfway, it'll end up being 15 degrees halfway through it in the harmonic chart. So that's what I wanted to show you. Let's go back to this. So there we have it. The natal chart, the ninth harmonic chart, and 2 ways to think about this ninth harmonic chart. Okay, one more thing I want to mention. Can we interpret these signs? Who cares about that, whether Venus is in Scorpio or not? As I mentioned, you can interpret them, and I gave the example with Buddy Holly with his Venus in Libra with a Scorpio ninth harmonic flavor. It really makes sense. And also, even though we think of harmonic astrology as being a modern idea, some harmonic charts have been used in India for many hundreds of years. In Vedic astrology, the ninth harmonic chart is used. Not only is it used, it's extremely important. I can hardly exaggerate how important it is. You know, it's used for marriage and spiritual path and so many things. And they have a name for it. It's called the navamsa chart. The navamsa chart is the ninth harmonic chart. Not all of the charts, sometimes called vargas, used in Vedic astrology, are harmonic charts, but the ninth harmonic is what they call the navamsa chart, is the ninth harmonic. Also, the saptamsa chart is the seventh harmonic. And in Vedic astrology, the zodiac sign is extremely important. They're doing it in sidereal, however. In West, we use tropical. But there is a history emphasizing that the zodiac sign positions, at least of some harmonics, are very important. So a lot of people are using this idea. So I do think that you can use signs of some of the harmonics. And also, just another curious thing about Vedic astrology, they have some special rules. One that's very interesting is that if a planet is in the same sign in the ninth harmonic chart as in the natal chart, it's called Vargatama. Vargatama is a very good thing. So there are lots of interesting rules that are used about zodiac signs in the harmonic chart. So my main point is here is that the signs of at least some harmonic charts are probably important. And I believe that the zodiac signs in the 5th, 7th, and 9th harmonic charts are useful. Also, this is maybe a little outside the range of what most people would be willing to entertain, but I believe that the signs in the 30th harmonic chart are important. In the 30th harmonic chart, there are 30 zodiacs. Each zodiac is 12 degrees, and each zodiac sign is 1 degree. So you get a zodiac sign that's 1 degree in length, and I did a lot of research on this many, many years ago, way back in the 70s, that showed that the books that give degree meanings have strong correlations to these 30th harmonic signs. There's another whole tutorial video that I've made on degree meanings, and I think I mentioned this idea in that video. But in any case, main point is that some people do use zodiac signs in harmonic charts, especially the basic ones like 5, 7, and 9, are sometimes considered to be like fundamental harmonic charts. For other harmonics, for the most part, probably not so important, although I do think 30th harmonic is important. Okay, my friends, so to summarize, I've tried to explain how the harmonic chart is calculated, so you know where this thing comes from, and I've given you a different visualization of what the harmonic chart is. You can think about it in 2 different ways. You get the same exact result. You can think of it as ninth harmonic chart as multiplying by 9, or you can think of it as making 9 little zodiacs around the outside. And we talked a little bit about how the harmonic signs make interesting patterns with the natal chart, at least in some harmonics, like 9 and 7. And there are others that do that. And we talked about whether you can interpret the signs of planets in the harmonic chart. And I believe you can, at least for some harmonic charts. And a great many astrologers also do that, particularly in Vedic astrology, interpret the sign, the harmonic, the ninth, and particularly the ninth harmonic sign as being especially important. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much for listening. God bless. Namaste.